Hannah from Bright Lane Gardens, and today we're going to talk about planting peonies. I'm coming to you from my own backyard, but as you can see, I'm currently engulfed in a sea of this invasive Japanese flowering bush. I have actually cut this back twice already this season, and I'm going to cut it back again today and try to dig up some of those roots. This is an effort that will be ongoing for years. This bush is highly invasive, and we've been trying to get rid of it since we moved into this place, and that was 4 years ago. We will continue our efforts to eradicate this, but in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and plant some peonies in this area. There is already a hot pink peony behind me, which is what gave me the idea to plant 2 more shrubs in this area. We get a lot of full sun, it gets great hydration, so I figured why not add some beautiful big blooms, and peonies can definitely offer that. My very first step is to cut all of this back so I've got room to plant my peonies. Has been cleared, and now I'm ready to dig my holes. You might notice that I did leave a few of the leaves on the ground here. Those are wonderful organic material that will break down into the ground and act as a compost for my freshly planted peonies. So I want to make sure I'm integrating that in with the soil that I'm adding to the ground as well. That bush that I just removed from this section of land here, it does have some roots in the ground still, so I am going to go ahead and dig those up. They really shoot out more like rhizomes than a true root mass, so it shouldn't take me too long to get those out. Plant 2 new peonies. This guy right here is a Duchess and More, and this is a white peony, pure white. And this guy right here is a peaches and cream peony that I've had on my deck for years. He's really not doing much in the container, so I'm going to plant him in the ground and see if that'll get some flowers out of him. The color on this guy is a little bit more of a coral mixed with some cream and some white. And the one that's already in the ground behind me is a hot pink. So I'm going to do hot pink, and then I'm going to do my peaches and cream, and then I'm going to end it with a white. So it'll be a nice variated color scheme here. Peonies want to be planted about 2 to 3 feet apart. So I do have my one back here. He's really small right now. Hopefully he grows a lot bigger next year now that I have that invasive plant out of here. But I'm going to go 2 feet from him and another 2 feet from the middle one for my white one. To start, I want to dig a hole that's twice as deep and twice as wide as the container that my plant came in. Next, I'm going to fill up that hole about halfway with some of the custom soil mix that I already blended up. Now in here is the soil base that I use for most of my plants out at the nursery, and that contains an organic garden soil, a little bit of decomposed mulch, some perlite, a little bit of sand, and of course organic compost. I did also add a little bit of bone meal into this mixture. Bone meal is specific to peonies in terms of the nutrient balance that they want to see. This I did blend up with the soil here. I am also going to use a granular fertilizer after I plant the flowers, and I'll show you how I do that after they're planted. I want to fill my hole about half full with this soil mixture so that I can place the plant on top. peaches and cream peony comes first. I've got my pot right here. I'm going to support the plant on top while I flip the pot upside down, and he should come right out of there. And next, I'm just going to settle him into the ground. He's got some carrier weeds around here. I'm just going to pluck those out so we can start with a nice fresh start. All right, the top of my plant is level with the top of the soil, so I'm going to go ahead and fill up the rest of this hole with my soil mixture. This guy's done, on to the next one. My white peony is coming up next. This guy's a little bit bigger than my peaches and cream, but I feel confident that as long as I fertilize them equally this year, by next year these two will really even out in size. There's a little bit of a rougher insert than I would have liked to see, but he's okay. None of his stems broke, so we're going to go ahead and fill up the rest of this hole with our soil blend. Because I dug up so much dirt in this specific area and I don't really have anywhere to put it, I'm going to go ahead and smooth it back over the areas that I just planted. This doesn't affect the quality of the soil at all, and I do already have a really high quality soil in here, so I know that these plants will continue to grow. My very last step on my peonies is to go ahead and fertilize them. I'm going to go ahead and use this granular garden tone fertilizer. I know it's meant to be used in the garden on your vegetables. However, I really love to use this on a lot of my flowering plants for two reasons. That is the nitrogen and the phosphate. I found that my blooms are a little bit bigger and last a little bit longer anytime I'm using a nitrogen-rich fertilizer like this one. To apply a granular fertilizer, you can use a measuring cup. I usually just use my hand because I work with this so often that I can typically tell how much a plant of this size will use. I'm going to do about 2 scoops with my hand and apply it to what we call the rain umbrella of a plant, which is basically if it rains, where the water would fall. Fertilized the 2 new peonies that I just planted, and I also fertilized the hot pink peony that was already here. It's about midsummer right now, so I'm going to have the chance to apply this at least one more time, if not twice, The key is you want to get your last application of fertilizer in before the plant falls dormant, otherwise you'll run the risk of burning the roots. Gardening with peonies is probably one of my favorite flowers. It makes an excellent cut flower, and if you leave them on the bush, they just add so much depth to the area of your garden that you're planting them in. Peonies are relatively easy to care for once they're well established. It's a 90-degree day here in northern Michigan, and I'm going to water the heck out of these guys until we see some cooler temperatures and see some clouds in the sky. As you probably noticed while I was planting, I still ran into a lot more roots from this invasive bush behind me here. We're going to continue to fight the good fight. I know we've got years ahead of us. However, it's going to be a top priority to keep this plant out of my peony area while they work on getting established. Once they're well established, they should have no issues fighting for the nutrients and the water that they need. If you have any questions about planting or growing peonies, please leave them in the comments below. And if you enjoy watching content like this, then please take the time to subscribe to our channel. It really helps out small businesses like ours. As always, thanks so much for tuning in today, and we hope to catch you next time.